What is up, YouTube? It's good to see you again. So we have an excellent video today. I'm so excited to bring this to you. Like I said, we are a React channel, so we do a lot of reacting. That's kind of what you do. And Benny Johnson just released an incredible video. Of course, you may be seeing this late as the time I'm recording, but anyway, it's called FBI Director Kash Patel Responds to Tucker's Bombshell Trump Assassination Report. And in the very beginning, you're going to see who is Thomas Crooks. If you don't know who Thomas Crooks is, it's the guy who attempted to kill President Trump in the first assassination attempt where he shot him in the ear. So there's a lot of really cool stuff here. There's great commentary. If you guys like this type of content, don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Let's get started. Let's do this.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. Yesterday, Tucker Carlson broke the entire internet by publishing this video. Who is Thomas Crooks? Where Tucker Carlson was able to finally shed some light on who the individual who nearly changed the course of Western civilization, started a civil war, I would argue, in this nation by putting a bullet through the head of President Trump, killing members of the MAGA movement, and then disappearing. The FBI told us that there was no footprint for this individual and that nobody has any further information about this mysterious young man who changed the course of Western civilization. Didn't maybe change it, did absolutely change it. And actually, because President Trump responded so valiantly and bravely after the assassination attempt,
he won the election.
So many more people voted for him. Elon Musk decided
this is the point he won.
Him. Same with RFK. It coalesced all the energy and power of the 2024 election around President Trump, and things will never be the same. Anyway, it could have gone a totally different way with 1 centimeter difference, of course, and President Trump would have been executed live on TV. So anyway, this has been seen by 5.2 million people at time of recording, 44,000 likes, 13,000 reposts, and a lot of people just saying, you know, wait a second, like finally somebody is just trying to crack open this case as to who Thomas Crooks was, the man who changed the course of Western civilization. What Tucker demonstrated here is that Thomas Crooks is a very dangerous, was a very dangerous and violent young.
And here's the thing, guys. Like when Thomas Crooks attempted to assassinate President Trump, there was literally false information from the Democrats saying, "Oh yeah, he was a Republican. He's part of MAGA." And I'm sitting here thinking, a MAGA person killing MAGA? Don't you realize what MAGA people are? They're unshaken, unbound, unhinged, completely sold to the notion of doing good, being a good neighbor, doing the right thing. These people aren't going to just turn their back on their own. Trump is like the leader of MAGA. They would never attempt to take him out. And I'm like, that's a bunch of horse crap. And then, there were people believing it. Well, I'd go visit people's houses, doing my full-time job. And they'd be like, it's one of those things like, the MAGA people are crazy. So, of course, a MAGA guy's going to shoot their leader or whatever. I'm like, that's a bunch of crap. Like, no, there's a verse in the Bible, a house divided against itself will fall. I mean, that's silly. And so we never actually got, to wrap it up, Thomas Crook. We have no idea who this kid is. We have no idea. We had nothing other than, he was reported as a Republican in his voting history or pattern or whatever. I'm like, that's crap. No Republican's going to attempt to assassinate another Republican. That's just not how that works. So now, hopefully, we finally get the answers we were looking for.
Young man, that while he did start off as a Trump supporter in 2016, he had a marked and dynamic shift.
He just said what I said. Yep.
And that he had very mysterious engagements on the internet.
Something's off.
Very mysterious interactions with people. All of these things were archived.
He's in some dark web stuff, bro.
Person of interest. The FBI must have known who he was. The FBI then went out and lied and said that he was a far right wing.
It's a cover up.
He had clearly
far left.
Hard left.
Yeah,
yes,
it's far
he did
left.
Support Trump in 2016. I don't think he was even voting age then. And then he broke and swung hard left.
See, the thing is, if they say he was a Trump supporter in 2016 before he could vote, that's like saying he liked air before he became the age to drink, and now he likes alcohol. It's stupid. That's a stupid thing to say. Who cares? You know how you know which side he votes for? His actions, right? If he votes for a Democrat, he's a freaking liberal. He's a Democrat. If he attempts to shoot a Republican, well, he's not on the side of a Republican. He's against them. I mean, let's use our brains here.
And then talked about
So
violence
foolish.
against government officials, President Trump, and so on. Anyway, I mean, they're just playing us as idiots by telling
Yeah.
us that they have nothing more on
And people
Thomas
actually
Crooks.
believe
They
it. That's
do
the
have a
crazy
lot
thing.
of evidence on Thomas Crooks. They just refuse to release it. Tucker Carlson showing that it looked really bad from the FBI's perspective because it seems like they're lying or withholding an enormous amount of evidence. They do have his phones. They do have his devices. They do have his chats. They do have his encrypted chats. They do have his overseas chats. They do have all the physical evidence. They do have all
Then
the
what's going
blood
on?
samples. Why the cover-up? Why are they keeping this from us? Well, the first time that the Trump 2.0 FBI has commented on Thomas Crooks
Over
by giving us a
480.
full-scale overview happened from Kash Patel because of Tucker Carlson's reporting. And I want to get through this, ladies and gentlemen. This post with Kash Patel updating the Crooks case overview. Let's begin, and we'll talk about what happens next.
Yeah.
Over 480 FBI employees were involved in Thomas Crooks investigations. Employees conducted over 1,000 interviews, addressed over 2,000 public tips, analyzed data extracted from 13 digital devices. That's
13. Jeez, I only have
nearly
2.
500,000 digital files, collected, processed, and synchronized hundreds of hours of video footage, analyzed financial activity from 10 different accounts, and examined the data associated with 25 different online social.
I have a phone and a backup phone and a bunch of my kids have a Nintendo Switch. Well, just one. We share it. And I have a Switch too. Those are my devices. He has 13, chat. Is that 13 phones? Is that 13 laptops? Is that a laptop and a phone and a burner phone and a secret and a Discord? Like, what is that?
Social media accounts. I mean, this is
13.
a massive online footprint.
That's a huge footprint.
Big online footprint. This is like as big as my online footprint. I do this for a living, right? 13 digital devices, a bunch of social media accounts.
Yeah, he's a social media influencer.
Crooks identified and examined over 20 online accounts. I mean, again, I don't have 20 online accounts.
I don't think I do either.
Online. So so this is much larger, frankly, than even me, who does this for a living.
That's what's wrong with kids nowadays. Like, you guys need to go touch grass. Like, literally, it'll change your life. Like, throw your cell phone not in your pocket, throw it on the couch, walk away, put your shoes on, bright sunny day, go and sit in grass. Feel it with your hands. Take your shoes off, feel it in your toes, and lay there for about 10 minutes. And then you come back in and tell me if you don't feel better.
Essentially, these are people that were coordinating with them or trying to influence him. This is sort of the illusion that Tucker Carlson gave. Data extracted from over a dozen.
Saying that stuff like this can influence him and make him do what they want is assuming that Thomas Crooks is a stupid individual. And I don't think he's stupid. I think he knew exactly what he was doing. You don't just pick up a rifle for something that you might believe in a little bit. I mean, Thomas Crooks was all in on this. He knew that if he went in, he was probably going to be killed. He was hoping not to, but he was brave enough to go all in for this idea. So it's not that Thomas Crooks is stupid, even though I think he is incredibly stupid, unintelligent. He made this decision and was willing to die for it. So that's crazy extreme.
Electronic devices, examination of numerous financial accounts, and 1,000 interviews, 2,000 public tips. The investigation conducted by 480 FBI employees, that's a massive amount of manpower, revealed Crooks had limited online and in-person interactions and planned and conducted the attack alone and did not leak or share his intent to engage in the attack with anyone. Okay, so this has been seen by nearly 3 million people. Okay. It's got 8,000 comments, 3,000 reposts. So let's go ahead and check. What is the sentiment here? Tucker released more info than Crooks than y'all. Time for you to resign. Why hasn't it been released? Incredibly telling that you released this only after Tucker released his investigation. Why does it take Tucker giving us something disappointing?
It is disappointing.
Okay. Please share more information with the American people.
This makes me reconsider
that's kind of like
Patel.
Here. What's the over/under on Kash being out in a few weeks? I'm done with Tucker Carlson. Nobody trusts Kash. Okay. Thank you, Tucker Carlson. All right. Anyway. Okay. This is not like a dunk on everyone, video. This is just me reading sort of the sentiment. But let me
reading the
explain.
temperature of the room.
people are so tired of being lied to, whether it's January 6th,
I am.
the Whitmer napping, whether it's COVID. It's just a constant deluge of lies. And so there is a hole that has to be crawled out of for the new.
And lies come on both sides, by the way. I mean, Kash Patel is a Trump guy. This is Trump's guy. Trump likes him. Man, this is the second time he's botched it up. I may have to change my opinion about him completely.
New Trump administration. And it is still new. They haven't even been in office for a year. Most of them haven't been in office for 6 months. Most of these directors. That lack of trust needs to be filled by major transparency. Overly transparent. You have to overshare, right? That's the critical issue here. And so it's not like they've done anything wrong. From what I hear from my sources, the decision came from the top. That's just all I can say. The decision came from the top to not be out with all of the available evidence. Maybe that will change. But from my sources, there was a strategic decision made. And that's that. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that's the right decision. I'm just saying it is what it is. But also the reality.
And just an aside on Benny Johnson is I absolutely love how he, doesn't very quickly jump to conclusions. I like how he's very honest. He takes a lot of the emotion out of it. There's sometimes where he can be pedantic or facetious and stuff like that, but for the most part, he's handling this very well. I mean, you almost have to guess what side he's on. I mean, I know what side he's on, but the way he's kind of unbiased and he's just letting out this information, it's very respectable. Just something I thought about.
The reality is that they have a massive public trust gap.
Yeah, I don't trust the government at all.
But by dozens of administrations lying about weapons of mass destruction, September 11th, lying about everything. Everything in modern memory has been a lie. And so is it an insurmountable task? I don't know. But for the people who have the job right now, you have to release as much, even if it seems mundane or benign or pointless, release it all. And let people know, like, that's how you actually.
That's Asmongold's opinion as well.
So Kash
yeah,
says there is like a lot of
transparency.
Evidence. I say you just go out with it.
Well, I mean, shoot, like if you've got 480 guys working on it, over 1,000 interviews, 2,000 public tips, 500,000 digital files. Let's just say you take a little bit of that and say, okay, we know Thomas Crooks was in this on Discord. We know that it was originated from this or that, or we know that he was speaking with this group or that group, or he was participating in an anti-American nationalist forum somewhere on X or something like that. I mean, why can't we have snippets? Like the problem is that people like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson they're able to give the public far more information than even the government who's in charge of withholding the information is. And the fact that Tucker Carlson can launch this investigation and Candace Owens and make people extremely defensive and people scared of him to where the head of FBI needs to come out and say, hey, we're working on this. It's not a good look. It means Americans can do a better job with the government than the government can, and that's not a good look. That's very scary.
There is no trial. Thomas Crooks is dead. We did cover this in the show, Tucker's revelations in the show. Here, ladies and gentlemen, is a piece of that just to update you as to sort of the
piece de resistance.
Right, Tucker did release a ton of new information that does, in my opinion, shed a lot of light on who Thomas Crooks was. A very violent, very disturbed young man.
I've heard that, actually.
Swung hard left, and it explains a lot of what got him to the point where he would put a bullet through.
He was willing to die for it.
Here we go. Who was speaking to Thomas Crooks? We finally have some evidence of who Thomas Crooks was online. Tucker Carlson, ladies and gentlemen, in his bombshell report today, details and proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that he has the messages, the comments, the YouTube comments and user comments of Thomas Crooks. That Thomas Crooks had a extensive digital footprint, and that while he started off as a very dangerous,
he was a Redditor,
manic Trump supporter, he flipped on Trump in the year 2020 after COVID. Something terrible happened to Thomas Crooks. His brain broke. And then he began espousing violence against the right
So he
and the
became
federal government.
stupid. He's a
He did
stupid
espouse
kid.
violence against the left. He did make racist comments online. But something happened in the year 2020, a full 4 years before the shooting, where Thomas Crooks became a rabid, radical, and very violent leftist.
Imagine how that goes hand in
Something
hand.
extremely dark happened. Here we go. Tone switch.
Violent
On various
leftist.
occasions, Crooks openly said things
That's like saying a flying bug. Yeah, a bug can fly. It's like, duh. When you say leftist, violence is implied. I mean, have you ever had a civil conversation with someone on the left, like the majority on the left? I'm not just talking about your cousin or your uncle or that one guy you talked to who was a liberal who listened to you because he didn't want to get in a confrontation. I'm talking about the general sentimentality. When you talk with a Republican, it's known because they're not going to jump down your throat and threaten you. But when you talk to a liberal, everything is that's lies. He's racist. He's a homophobe. He's this. It's name calling. It's projecting. It's anger. It's, well, so you do like to kill children, right? It's like, no, that's not what I said. I said that I don't believe children should have to do this, this, and this. So you like killing children, huh? I mean, it's so stupid. A violent leftist, you can just say leftist. It's the same thing. It's implied violence. The left is violent. Sorry. It's just the cards you guys have dealt.
like Mueller should be hanged along with the rest of the Democrats involved in that witch hunt. And I always believed being patriotic was lining up a bunch of socialist Jews, like the ones who booed Trump, and blasting their useless brains out with an AR. And yet, in early 2020, Crooks seemed to change.
Like, that's the thing. It's like, I'm not. Look, I voted for Trump, and that's fine. If you voted for Kamala, that's fine too. That's your right as a citizen. I'm not going to sit here and say you're evil because you voted one way or the other. But when you start attacking me for what I believe, that's when we have a problem. Those people, and unfortunately, when people get to the point to where they condone violence, there is no rationalizing with them anymore. If they're saying violent things to you and they're aggressively trying to target you, and these people are in the workforce and these people are, at the highest seats of honor, as they say in the Bible, and they're actively persecuting you, it does say, "Blessed be the man who is persecuted," but also these are the people you cannot rationalize with. And to Tucker's point, I've never wanted to just end them. I've wanted to have a conversation with them and figure out why they're so godless and so insane. Because at a point, it does stop being, well, this is just my opinion, because they eventually take on characteristics of the devil. Pure evil, unadulterated, anti-Semitic, pure hatred, pure violence, pure evil. Even Christians, even non-Christians who don't know what good and evil is. Because if you're not a Christian, there's no such thing as good or evil. It's government and state, and that's it. What is the law of the land? And that's your God. I mean, that's essentially what it is. So even people who aren't Christians are starting to say things like, this is evil, this is good, this is evil, that kind of thing. So, these people, I would never want to kill them, but I would try and convert them. If we can't convert them, like Phil Robertson said, from Duck Dynasty, I have all of his books, actually. You guys will love this. If this guy right here, this man right here, he went on air and said, if you cannot teach these people, if you can't teach them, if you can't convert them, you kill them. That's kind of the mindset Tucker is subscribing to.
Radically. On January 23rd of that year, he referred to, quote, Trump's stupidity. He began to mock the concept of the deep state. He suggested.
Well, if Trump's so stupid, then how does he have several $billion, right? Just through real estate. That is impossibly hard to do, by the way. Like, it really is. Like, have you guys tried to own real estate? Do you know how hard it is to manage that? And he does commercial real estate. He has some of the biggest buildings in all of New York. I mean, he owns a majority of these places. I mean, he owns the nicest places where you're like, Oh, this must cost a fortune. There's marble ceilings and marble floors and stone pillars and decorative artwork that looks like it was from the 1400s kind of thing. And, you know, Trump's no idiot. Make no mistake. It's either you're an idiot or Trump's an idiot. And Trump is definitely not an idiot.
Said it was a code word used by Trump supporters for, quote, anyone who disagrees with the right wing. Suddenly, he sounded like an
You can
MSNBC
disagree with the right. I do all the time.
In February of 2020, he called out Trump supporters as, quote, too brainwashed to realize how dumb you are. I mean, literally, you guys sound like a cult at times. That same day,
the cult is the left. It really is. Like, take a look up the definition of cult, and then look at what the left is doing as a whole, and the sentiment, and the anti-Semitic, and the violence, and the anger, and the fascism, and the socialism, and you can't say that the Republicans are a cult. The Democrats are.
Called Trump and his supporters, quote, racist. It was an amazing transformation. That April, during the peak phase of the coronavirus lockdowns, Crooks wrote, quote, it seems that you people don't understand that sometimes public safety comes before your personal rights. Are you not willing to quarantine one member of your family to save the rest? If so, you are not a patriot, and you aren't protecting anything. Around this time, the new left-wing version of Thomas Crooks became very critical of conservative media. He said at one point, quote, going to a Chinese New Year's party in America isn't putting you at risk for coronavirus, because, believe it or not, viruses don't spread through race like Tucker Carlson probably told you.
Oh, that's crap.
That May, as state officials across the country overhauled election systems to promote mail-in voting, Crooks attacked Republican concerns about voter fraud as, quote, ignorant. 4 months later, in August 2020,
I think a lot of this, some people say it's just, look, honestly, with the improvements in technology, with the ability to have a presence online, with the ability to comment on Reddit and YouTube and all of these places, the reality is that what has radicalized people is the notion and the sentiment of these parties and what they deem as acceptable. So if everyone at the party, at the Democrat Party is like, hey, yeah, let's vote in a way that supports our workers, because they used to be the working man's party. Now it's the Republicans, but back then it used to be the Democrats. So they're like, let's vote for workers' rights. Let's reform this, let's reform that. Let's cut taxes for the working man. Everybody's like, yeah, and then someone like Thomas Crooks comes in and says, yeah, and let's kill all the government officials that are responsible for voting against us. And then everyone around him's like, yeah, haha, funny. Oh, okay. He's just crazy. And then all of a sudden, someone hears that, and then they start saying it. And now most of the Democratic Party, the new meeting is, hey, let's kill everyone who's responsible for voting against us, and let's do this, and death to the system. And now everyone is radical. It didn't used to be that way.
His tone had shifted even further to the left.
Oh, excuse me.
He said, quote, I believe the outcome will be irrelevant. In response to the same video, Thomas Crooks issued what sounds a lot like a digital manifesto. Quote, in my opinion, the only way to fight the government is with terrorism-style attacks. Sneak a bomb into an essential building and set it off before anyone sees you. Track down any important people or politicians, military leaders, etc., and try to assassinate them. Any sort of head-to-head fight is suicide, and even ambush or surprise attacks likely aren't going to end well.
Isn't that what he did?
Okay.
Wow.
Thomas Crooks broke hard left during COVID.
Oh, yeah.
There are many people who had their brains broken by COVID. What Tucker Carlson's reporting here proves is that Thomas Crooks was a violent person who had very dark thoughts about attacking members of the government, whether they are members of Congress, the president, or federal law enforcement. That is the theme. Whether he was supporting Trump or whether he was turning on Trump, whether he was attacking Trump, and he eventually led to him trying to murder Trump, hitting President Trump in the head with a bullet. that is a consistent and present theme in just one of his social media accounts. Tucker uncovered over a dozen social media accounts. All of them have been scrubbed. But then there's something very concerning. They all go dark when a very mysterious account that seems to be of a foreign user tied to some very radical groups, very strange groups, violent groups, terrorist groups, contacts Crooks. What happens in these scenarios is there are forces in this world, and I'm not going to suggest who was behind this, but when you see someone like Thomas Crooks online, you groom him. You see the rage and the
I think the Democratic Party groomed him. I think his opinion left unchecked groomed him. I think what he was allowed to say and what he was allowed to think, not saying that someone should tell you how to think or how to do anything. I'm saying that left to your own devices, you create an echo chamber of delusion. And with no one to combat your ideas, you can accept that maybe killing President Trump is the right thing to do. And I think that's exactly what happened. I mean, this guy was very antisocial. They said he was a loner, right? Maybe he was contacted by someone. But he was willing to die for this cause because he truly believed Trump was evil. What's crazy is he was evil, and Trump's trying to do the right thing. It's insane. He broke hard leg. He just broke. Yeah. Yeah. So what do you do? How do you stop that? I mean, there's tons of people who are active on Reddit who say stuff like this every day. There's tons of people who are on YouTube leaving death threats in the comment section. I see it every day. Just scroll through the comments and look at some of the political videos and go down and look at the arguments that are happening in chat. Mm-hmm.
Anger inside of this young American. You see them outwardly projecting this, a call and a cry for help. And if you are a dark enough and sinister enough force, then you take them under your wing and you begin to manipulate them.
That's assuming Thomas is stupid.
You begin to control them. You can channel that rage and that anger.
Nobody's going to control me. Nobody's going to tell me what to think or how to think. But I will be honest, most people lack critical thinking. You know, get on interstate whatever, and wherever you're located, and look at how people drive and how they think cutting off people, not using their blinkers, being aggressive, slamming on their brake, all these traits of unintelligent, low IQ, stupid people. It does seem to be the vast majority of everyone. So maybe ordinary people, stupid people, can be fooled easily. And maybe they can be groomed because they are stupid. But Thomas Crooks, he was he's willing to die for what he believed in. He's insanely radical, insanely violent, but I don't think he's stupid. Like when I say stupid, I mean low IQ, unintelligent, just brain dead, kind of degenerate human. Thomas doesn't seem to be that way. Like he was very precise. If you look at if you read the entirety of his YouTube comments, they were very well thought out. They followed a plot. They were well spoken, even though they're crazy and insane. I mean, got to give it credit. I mean, he doesn't come off in his comments as an idiot. He comes off as a radical, a violent radical.
Real world result. And that is what
he made a choice to become this way. It wasn't that he was groomed.
Also, what I believe, the current
he believed this the right thing to do.
FBI is covering up.
For sure, they are.
Here we go.
At that point, a new character emerged into the conversation. A user named Willie Tepes.
Now we're getting into the good stuff.
Who started pressuring Crooks to commit violence. For example, quote, "If a gun and a badge is all that is needed, then authority obviously comes from the barrel of a gun."
Well, yes and no. I mean, what he's saying is the guy with the bigger stick wins. And there's some truth behind that. If you have two people, neither are an officer, and one has a gun and one has a knife, who do you think has more authority? Probably the guy with the gun, because the guy with the knife doesn't want to get shot. He's talking about survival of the fittest.
We have more guns than they do. There is no way we can avoid a war at this point, so you better just get used to the idea. We have nothing to lose and everything to win. And the alternative, a global police state, is unacceptable. Nothing in life is simple, but that is no argument against doing it. So who is this Willie Tepes? Unfortunately, we don't know. The FBI hasn't made any mention of him in public, although they certainly know he exists. Just days after the shooting, somebody screenshotted Tepes' YouTube account page, despite the fact he had very few followers. To the extent that he can be traced online now, you can find his username being used on a foreign Antifa website. Those sites link him to the Nordic Resistance Movement, which has been designated a terrorist group by the U.S. State Department. That's all we know. We do know, however, that Crooks' online footprint abruptly ends after his encounter with this mysterious figure, Willie Tepes. Regardless of whoever Willie Tepes is or was and what his motives may have been, who he may have been working for, there is no doubt that Crooks was ripe for recruitment by someone.
Tucker goes on to say that the behavior of the FBI after the murder of Corey Competentor and the shooting of President Trump is strange in the extreme. That they scrubbed all available evidence.
It's interesting.
Never allowed for an independent toxicology report. Cremated the body instantly. Power washed the roof. They accessed Thomas Crooks' phone almost immediately. Were able to get inside of it and were able to uncover a treasure trove of messages.
The reason we don't know anything about Thomas Crooks is because the government is hiding it. There's no denying that at this point. The question now becomes why and what's to gain from it. Where's the money changing hands? Who's in control here? Is it the government or is it someone else?
Documents, searches, and potential co-conspirators. All of this evidence is available at Quantico, including, hopefully, preserved biological evidence, spinal fluid, blood samples, brain tissue samples.
What use is
all
that?
All of these things you would assume would be preserved by the FBI. Have they been? Let's watch.
What's the point of having blood and tissue and spinal fluid and all of this stuff? What's the point of having it? Was it to identify the shooter? What advantage do you have by keeping that kind of stuff? It doesn't tell me who he was in cahoots with. It doesn't tell me why this plan was made. It doesn't tell me if he was a lone wolf or not. It doesn't tell me what his deal was. I mean, those are just biologics. Unless you're using it to reference how they're handling the rest of the case, then yeah, but maybe I'm just stupid. I don't know.
Crooks' phone to the Bureau's laboratory at Quantico, Virginia. Agents there were able to open it in less than 40 minutes using technology.
I mean, that's quick. That's stupid quick.
Called Celebrate. According to the Post, FBI officials who served under President Joe Biden accessed Crooks' phone, computer, and his encrypted messaging apps in Belgium, New Zealand, and Germany. Yet none of the online activity the FBI has discovered was referred to in any way in the final congressional report that was released in December of 2024.
By the way, why do we still know nothing about that guy in Butler? What's going on?
That was a good question, a question that most people thought would be answered by the new administration. Within weeks of retaking office, Donald Trump told the New York Post's Miranda Devine that he had, quote, ordered the Secret Service on Friday to provide him every bit of information about his two would-be assassins.
You've had two assassination attempts. One, obviously, where you got hit by that bullet in Butler. There's a lot of frustration that we still don't know about that shooter in Butler. And we don't know about his communications. We get stonewalled all the time.
13 devices.
Is there frustration on your part? Will we get transparency? Will we know the bottom line story?
It's very interesting because we have great people. I think Pam is incredible. I think Kash is incredible. And they're doing a great job. They're being recognized as doing a great job.
But you're the president. Can't you find out?
No, I know. I'm relying on my people to tell me what it is.
But his people insist there's nothing there. and they don't seem interested in finding out more.
Yeah, that's the problem. If there's nothing there, then why did this kid who was young be willing to lay down his life for something that doesn't matter? That's stupid.
But there is something there. There has to be.
There has to be. Yeah, I mean,
Because even in
duh.
this very short expose, it's about 30 minutes long,
Yeah.
and the major new information brought to bear were some new videos of Thomas Crooks, pretty benign videos of Thomas Crooks. Some videos of him dry firing his firearm, and some just other weird stuff. But really, it's the YouTube comments, the comments of Thomas Crooks, that paint the picture of a very radicalized and
those are his
violent
words.
and dangerous young man who made constant and consistent threats against the federal government, sometimes in favor of Donald Trump, against Trump's enemies, but then shifting rapidly against President Trump and his supporters.
Who touched him? Who messed with him?
And then the FBI lies. That's what's so remarkable about
It's
it.
weird,
and why
man.
Kash and Dan must act on revealing who Thomas Crooks truly was. Because the FBI went before Congress, and the former assistant director of the FBI said that Thomas Matthew Crooks was a right-wing radical.
No way.
Christopher Wray went before Congress and questioned whether Donald Trump was even shot at all. Maybe it might have been a piece of glass, says Christopher Wray.
Wow.
The FBI literally hosed down the building the day after the shooting. This is not normal for the FBI. The FBI doesn't do crime scene cleanup. What the hell is going on here? Why have we never seen any blood samples? Why have we never seen any tissue samples? Why have we never seen any toxicology reports? Why don't we know anything
I see where he's going with the bio stuff.
Matthew Thomas Crooks, what drugs he was on, who was controlling him, what was inside of those devices, who was he talking to before he shot Trump? How did he know every single security vulnerability on the building?
Curious.
So obtuse was his movements that day that hundreds of Trump supporters filmed him from their cell phones in their lawn chairs.
That pisses you off.
And Tucker's saying, listen, this is clearly an inside job at the federal government. Here we go.
The reality is that the FBI, as
I
of
wouldn't.
today,
I wouldn't put
is
it
not only
past. Actually,
stonewalling.
I actually. Here's a funny thought. I actually thought a couple of times before this violation happened, before Thomas Crooks, I said violation, the assassination, before Thomas Crooks tried to assassinate Trump, when we had no idea anything like that was possible or it was coming, it wasn't on anyone's radar. I had a feeling that because of Biden and the rhetoric, he used terms like put a target on Trump's back. He's a fascist. He's a Nazi. Kamala was saying he's a fascist. He's a Nazi, and all of that. And that rhetoric was going around. I literally thought before this happened, what if the government tries to eliminate Trump so that Biden or his next guy can consolidate power, and so that they can have another Democratic reign for 4 to 8 years? That was my thought. And then the assassination attempt happened, and it just, all this crap went out the window. Like, what do you do? Tucker's onto something here. And it would make sense. It would make sense, the blackouts. It would make sense scrubbing down the building. The FBI, they don't do crime scene stuff, like cleanup. That's weird. Like, there's so much weird stuff happening that's far out of character of our government and the agencies that are in play here. And remember, Cheadle was in charge of that at the time. That DEI stupid, retarded woman. And if she was run over by a bus, man, I don't think many people would care. She was that bad. And I would care. I'm Christian. I have to care. I pray for her every day that she turns away from her sin. But there's a lot of people in America who wouldn't wink a tear at her. They'd say, good, she got what she deserved. And that sentimentality, man, is dangerous. But I would not put it past the government to do something like this. In fact, I think they've done far worse. I mean, with Kennedy and Martin Luther King. So this is not shocking. When Tucker says this, it makes more pieces fit together than not.
But is actively preventing an honest look at what happened in Butler. Within days of the shooting, FBI agents collected all the relevant surveillance footage.
Okay.
That includes footage
Let's
from
see.
local businesses,
Let's see
the
it.
state police, and critically,
Show me.
the gun range where Thomas Crooks trained. Did he train alone? We don't know, because to this day, the FBI refuses to release the footage. They confirmed it exists.
Okay.
They confirmed the existence of one gaming account, and then publicly said a few days later the account wasn't real. Was that incompetence, or are they lying? Within a day of the shooting,
Could be
social
both.
media companies that hosted Crooks' comments took his accounts offline.
Incompetent
In
liars.
some cases, the records of those comments in the Internet Archive were also...
I mean, guys, look at this freaking map, okay? This is the map that they had. They were looking at this. Trump was positioned near the red building here. There's the bleachers. So out of all of these places, the building behind, the massive white that looks like a Tetris figure by the American flag, that's a place of suspicion. And then where Crooks shot was on that left side behind all of the, directly to the left of the building in these white sections here. This is where Crooks was located. Do you not think that this area should be secured? I mean, was that not a thought, or was it a thought and they're just like, well, maybe someone will get him? Or maybe it was an inside job. Maybe we'll just conveniently won't authorize enough units here, and then maybe our guy, Thomas Crooks, can get in and do the job, and we'll claim incompetence. I could see that happening. It makes sense. Yeah, I mean, you could get a 5-year-old and say, okay, where do we need to secure? Anywhere that's a building. Okay, well done, son. My 5-year-old. Yeah, well done. I mean, I genuinely don't believe these people are this stupid, but I'm starting to believe they are.
Did the FBI order that too?
I have so many comments. I'll leave it alone.
Is that on the day of the attacks, Thomas
I'll leave it
Crooks
alone.
got extremely lucky, miraculously lucky.
Impossibly
After he arrived
lucky,
at the
you may
Butler
say.
County Fairgrounds on the morning of the shooting, Thomas Crooks conducted surveillance by flying his drone over the rally site. He flew that drone for 11 minutes. It just so happened the Secret Service's anti-drone system were down at exactly the same moment.
Oh,
what are the
wow.
odds?
That's way too convenient. That's not
something I can't
luck.
swear.
Yeah, that's not luck at all.
If you really want to know
That's not luck at all.
who's protected by our federal government, who are the people that are really running things, you need to ask the question, who and what can't I criticize?
Oh my goodness. Wow. What a bombshell. There's a lot of good stuff there, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like comments like this, if this got you thinking, if you enjoy this type of stuff, please leave me a subscribe and like the video. It really helps out, and I'm trying to make more of these more often to be up to date with everything, but I genuinely enjoy this, and I really appreciate your time here. So I hope you have a great day. Stay safe out there. Be careful, and I look forward to catching you on the next one. Peace.